Hello all. Welcome to this video wherein we will be exploring the topic of performing marketing data analysis using Python. Now, so whenever we will be performing a data analysis procedure, we'll follow a few steps. Alright, so since this is a marketing campaign data, so basically let me clear it myself. This is marketing campaigning data, right? So now if I want to perform marketing campaign data analysis, I need to have the data. So that's my problem statement, that we need to perform this marketing campaign data analysis, and my data set I have already gathered from a source. Now once we have gathered this data from a source, the next step is to perform the ETL. So but before getting deep into this project, let me start by stating why this is important. Now whenever we see in a company, it is said that sales and marketing are two important pillars of a company, and marketing is one of those. So that's why it is utmost important to study the marketing campaign, because see, whenever we are working in a company, there are several sources or several methods of marketing. Some marketing can be by emails, can send cold emails, can be by calls, can be by making cold calls. It's done by doing some kind of advertisement, maybe on a social media platform, maybe on hoardings, maybe on the pamphlets that are distributed. It can be through an influencer, a social media influencer, maybe by an actor or celebrity. So there are several methods by which this marketing takes place. So I have curated a data which has these kinds of what I can say, these types of columns in it, or attributes in the data. So on your screen you can see that I have loaded my VS Code over here, and on this VS Code you can see I've created an IPYNB file, and it also has that marketing leads data in a CSV format. So we'll first of all start with our project by importing the dependencies that we need. So we talked about problem statement, we talked about data collection, we are done with this step. So we'll be starting with the ETL process now. ETL and EDA, usually I try to do that together, hand in hand, because they are uh, dependent on each other and they go hand in hand. All right. So before that, let's start with importing our libraries. So I'll import numpy as np. So okay, import numpy as np. Let me try to run this. Try to do this. Okay. Yeah, because this was not connected to the kernel, it was giving me some issues. Now it is connected to the kernels. Let me import all my libraries that we'll be needing. Import cborn as sns, and import matplotlib.pyplot. Now I'm not sure if we'll be needing all of them, but I'm just importing them just in case we need them, right? Right, I have not written the aliasing function over here. It should be as plt, and it's done. And meanwhile it loads, I'll write pd.read_csv, and in that I'll write marketing leads underscore data dot csv, and I'll run this. Okay, my libraries and my dependencies are still being loaded, so we'll wait for that. It's loaded now. Now you can see the data has been loaded over here. Alright, so I'll write df equals to this, so that this gets inputted into that variable. Now we'll see the first five data points or the first 5 rows in our in our table. So we can see, let's try to understand what this table means or what these columns mean. First is lead ID. Basically each lead that has been generated has a lead ID assigned to it. Usually we don't use this kind of column in our analysis, because unless and until this is uh, unless and until I have a specific name of that lead, it's of no use. But anyway, we'll just keep that with us, we'll not delete it as of now, we can still use it. Then comes campaign ID, because campaign ID is, for example, there are some campaigns that this company is running, and each campaign type has been given an ID. So you can see campaign ID 102 is given for the social search campaign, which was for the social media type of campaigning, type of marketing campaigning. All right. So this is how we identify the types of campaigns. Then there's lead source. So the lead got to us by which source? So once landing page, then there's phone call, there's app, there's website. There are several pages that or several sources through which lead have come to us. All right. Now again, what I'm talking about lead and what are those things? Let me clarify that first. Now, whenever we are working in a company, whenever we are working to sell a product or a service, there are two types of things. There's customers and there's people who are not yet our customers, right? So whoever are our customers, they are again, they are converted customers, right? There was a point of time when they were not our customers, right? At that point we call them leads. Before a customer becomes a customer, we call them as lead. So this is the terminology of marketing. So these leads, they are generated using these campaigns. Now once that lead is generated, it is the work of a salesperson to convert that lead into a customer. Alright, so that's the lead that I'm talking about. Now industry. So maybe the industry that this lead is belonging to. So maybe this lead, the first lead belongs to the SaaS industry. SaaS means software as a service. Then there's e-commerce, finance, and so on. Right. Then there's lead status. So let me quickly tell you what all the lead status. There are 4 different lead statuses. First is new. New means that's the newly generated lead, which we have not yet contacted, right? We just know the number for that lead, we have not yet contacted that lead. Second is contacted. That means the lead has been generated and we have made a contact with them. We have either talked to them, we have either contacted to them with the email, or they have visited our what you can say, our shop or website or something. Then there's qualified. Qualified means this lead has a potential to become our customer. We'll be 50 to 70% sure that this lead can become our customer, and that's when the lead becomes qualified. And the last is converted. That's when the lead actually gets converted into our customer. That means the lead buys from us some product or a service. Alright. So these are the 4 statuses that we can give to the lead. There's acquisition cost. That means how much cost did it take for us to acquire that customer. Alright. Expected value means how much is the lead expected to buy from us. So for example, the first lead is expected to buy from us a product or a service that's worth $2102, $2,100. This lead is expected that he will buy from us, and that's why this is the expected value of that lead for us. That value, that lead is worth $2,100. Alright. And then there's created at date. So the date at which this lead was created. Alright. So let's start with the cleaning process. So let me see if this has any null values. This data pretty much looks clean to me already, but let's see. Dot is na dot sum will tell me. Okay, so there's no null values in our data set. Let us see the data types. Df dot info. Okay, so it tells me there are no null values. There are several object type of data over here. Then there's float, two of them which are float and one is object. So this created at should be a date time object, but it's right now a object data type column. So what we'll do is we'll change that first. All right. Then there's lead status, industry, lead source, campaign type, and so on and so forth. Let's see, all of them, they are categorical data, so we'll keep it as it is. And what we'll do is we'll try to change, or we'll not try to, but we'll actually change our last column created at into a date time format. So for that we need to use pd dot to underscore date time. In it we will have to write this df of created at. So created at. Alright, if I run this, we can see this is into date time now. This has been converted into date time. All I need to do is copy and paste it again back over here, so that I'll input this changed values into the column again. Now when I write df.info, you can see the type of this has been changed now. It has been changed to date time now. Now depending on what kind of analysis do we need to perform or want to perform, we can add more columns to this. Maybe if I want to see the date or month-wise month-wise lead generation kind of things, then I can use this, or then I can convert this into a month format, this created at. So let us get an idea about this date. So this looks data from several years. Let me see. So df of created at dot minimum. Let's see if we can see the minimum date over in this data which is 1st January 23. Let us see the maximum date over here, which is 30th December 2024. So this data is for the complete 2 years. Alright, so yeah, we can change it into 23 and 24 and the months as well. So let us see. Let us extract year and month from this date. So let us see year. So for that I will need to create a column name year. Let us first convert this. So df of created at dot dt dot year. This will give me all the years, and what I'll do is I'll create a new column df of year and then input it into this. Similarly, I'll just copy paste this over here, and instead of year I'll do month, and here I will do month. Alright, so two new columns would have been added over here. We can again see df.info. For that okay, need to give the parenthesis and call the table instead. So yeah, we can see that year and month columns have been added over here. Alright, so I think this data is almost clean data, and we can directly use that for our analysis, right? So now if I want to do the analysis, we'll start with finding out the KPIs first. Alright, so in order for me to find the KPIs, I would have to formulate the KPIs in some way. Now let me discuss a few important KPIs that are important whenever there is a marketing kind of data. So the first KPI that comes to my mind is conversion rate. Conversion rate. Alright, so what is conversion rate? Conversion rate is you can say the total number of customers divided by total number of leads. That means how many percentage of leads got converted into our customers. That is called as conversion rate. So how will we check how many of these leads got converted into our customers is from the lead status. We can see the total number of converted versus the total number of leads. Now we know this data is for 1000 data points. Now also we can check one more thing, if there are any duplicates in this data. So let us see df dot duplicate d, my spelling is not over here, duplicate data stands for duplicate d. Let us see. Okay, I need to sum it up just to check how much or how many, or if there are any duplicates present. So there are no duplicates, so we can say that we have total 1000 leads. So I'll say number of leads equals to 1000, but instead of writing the name as it is, or writing this 1000 over here, what I'll do is I will write length of data frame. Alright, so let me see number of leads. I'll print this. Okay, print this. So we'll see. So this is 1000, right? Then I would have to see the total number of converts, right? Total number of customers, which is so one way to do that is df of lead status dot value counts. This is a very important function or method in pandas that will help us know the counts of this. So you can see it gives us value in the series. Now you see, okay, and there's lost too. So lost means you can say it is confirmed that these people are not gonna buy anything from us, or not buy any service or product from us, are called as lost deals. So there's one more category over here, but what we need to focus on is converted. So converted is 141, right? So of this, what I'll do is I'll converted, that will give me the value of this converted people. Now what I'll do is I'll write this, I'll save this as a variable. So number of customers equals to, I will write this formula over here. Alright, if I see customers, it's 141. Alright, now what I need to do is I need to calculate my conversion rate. So conversion rate equals to number of leads divide or let's multiply by that by 100 divided by number of customers divided by number of customers. Alright, so now let me print conversion rate. So you can see this is our conversion rate. Okay, so there's something wrong over here. Okay, so yeah, my formula completely went wrong. I have to write number of leads in the denominator and customers over here. So my bad, customers over here and leads over here. Alright, so let me see. So 14.1 is my conversion rate. So it is safe to say that however leads that are generated by this company, out of that 14.1% are converted into actual customers. So that's the conversion rate we can say for this company. So you see how I've calculated a KPI over here. Alright, so this KPI is of utmost uh, importance when it comes to perform this data analysis, because um, this is what makes you what you can say, an actual insight master. See, whenever we perform a data analysis, you have to remember our task is not to you know create a dashboard, or not just that. I'm saying, I'm not saying that dashboard creation is not important, but your work does not stop over there. Whenever you have to work on a project of a data analysis, even after creating dashboard, you have certain tasks that you need to perform, one of which is generating these insights or calculating these KPIs and interpreting those KPIs for your client or your stakeholder, right? So that you should always remember that you always need to work on your KPIs and interpreting them for your stakeholders. All right, so the next KPI that we'll be working on is, let's say, customer acquisition cost. So you see in this data set we already have some function called as acquisition cost, but since this cost is different for different customer, we don't need to give that cost for each customer, right? We need to find an average cost, which is called as customer acquisition cost. So in order for me to calculate that, what so I'll give you some moments to think what will be required to calculate that. Meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll write, meanwhile you think what can be done and how can we calculate customer acquisition cost from here. So customer acquisition cost. All right, so you might have thought, how will we calculating that? It's easy, we just have to average out all the customer costs over here. So all I have to do is df of acquisition cost dot mean. So this is what is the acquisition cost, the customer acquisition cost. So customer acquisition cost. So customer acquisition cost is this. All right, now what I'll do is I'll copy this over here and write customer acquisition cost over here. So this prints the customer acquisition cost. All right, so this is the customer acquisition cost that we have calculated. Or so yeah, we can see that okay, so one thing that went wrong in this formula, and that I just realized, this is not customer acquisition cost, this is cost per lead. Right. So you can say the acquisition cost over here is the cost that we require to generate that lead. So this 52 is cost per lead. So again, I completely went wrong over here. This is not our customer acquisition cost, but instead this is cost per lead. All right, so always make sure that you do not goof up in things like this. All right, just give me a moment. So you don't goof up like this, because why is it not customer acquisition cost? Because this was for all the leads that have been generated, right? So there are leads that are not our customers yet, right? So the customer acquisition cost should be something else, and you can see from here, usually the cost that has been spent on this lead is 11.61 to generate this new lead, right? And when this lead progresses, it becomes a qualified lead. So you can see contacted lead, the price goes up by $3. When it becomes qualified, you can see several dollars have been spent for that, and when it gets converted you can see several more dollars have been spent for that. All right, so cost of generating a lead is, you know, is not that much, but acquiring a customer involves much more money. So again, we can see, we can still, I can still say that I went some wrong over here, because again this is the mean of all the acquisition costs. But what I need to do this mean for is, I need to calculate this for all the leads, not the you know all the what you can say customers. So let me correct me once more and full and final for this time. So cost df of acquisition cost, this is for all the customers, but I need to filter it down for all the new leads. How will we do that? So df of lead status. So df of lead status equals to new. All right, so this is the data for all the new leads, and now what I need to do is df of this will generate all the data that's all for the new leads, and this is my rows. Now in the column I want, so let me df.log over here, df.log, and the column that I need over here is acquisition cost. Let me just copy over this. Over here. Alright, let me run this. So you can see this is all the cost that has been generated for all the new leads. This is all for the new leads, you can see. And then what I need to do is calculate the mean cost from here, which will actually give me my cost per lead, which again came out to be the same, around same, not exactly same, but around same, which is $53. But this is, so you can say we were correct by fluke before, but this is what it actually should be. So let me delete this from here. Just a second, let me clear this up. Let me paste that over here and run this. Now I'll see this is the actual cost per lead. This is the actual cost per lead. Let me correct from here to this is cost per lead. So this much is the average cost that is required for me to generate a lead. Alright, now what I'll do is I'll do the same for customer acquisition. So what I'll do is create some new cells over here. Alright, now we'll calculate customer acquisition cost. Alright, so the customer acquisition cost equals to, now this is, let me abbreviate it as CAC, right? I don't have to, so that I don't have to write this much. CAC, that means customer acquisition cost. Cost per lead can also be abbreviated as CPL. So again, you can work with your variables as you want, as long as you understand what you have created or why you have written this. Alright, so CAC should be, I'll just copy paste this same line over here, but with a small change that this should be converted over here. Alright, when I run this, so now let's calculate average marketing spend. So let me abbreviate it as AMS, and what I'll do is I'll write this as customer acquisition cost. So CAC multiplied by 100 divided by average LCV value. If I print EMS over here, EMS, so average LCV is not defined. We just defined it over here. Okay, right, we didn't. So you see 2.13. So how can you read this is we spend 2% of the customer's value into acquiring that customer. So that's the marketing spend, but this is not exact because we have not yet considered the complete amount of money that we have spent. We can calculate that as the total CAC divided by total CAC divided by total expected value. So let me see if I can do that. So total marketing spend, or let me not write it like this, TMS expected, because this is expected. So TMSE, that means total market spend expected, which should be let us calculate this separately. So DF of this should be acquisition cost dot sum multiplied by 100 divided by DF of this should be expected life value. So it's not showing up over here, so we'll copy that over from here. Expected value in dollars. I'll just copy it over here from here, and I'll just paste it over here instead of this. Alright, so this should be in percentages. So let me print TMSE, and you can see, okay, why is this, okay, I'm not summed it over here. So again, my bad, let me perform this again. So this is again the same, the value is in the same range. So total we spend 2% of our revenue in marketing is what we can see from here. Alright, so that's all about the KPIs, and these are not the only KPIs. Depending on what kind of you have, what kind of columns you have, what kind of features you have, what kind of variables you have, you can decide what kind of KPIs you want to show up. So these are various KPIs that we have. Now the next is visualizing stuff and comparing stuff based on various things. So the first step that we can see is we can see how much cost do we incur from various campaign types. So let's study campaign type versus acquisition cost. Now there are n number of things that you can study. You can study acquisition cost with campaign type. You can see the count of leads with the campaign type. You can see count of leads status with count of lead sources, count of industry with campaign type. So there are several possible several types of analysis that's possible. So let's start with a few, because we are already done a lot of stuff over here, and we have worked on a lot of things over here. So it's possible that you might get bored. So I'll not bore you with more visualizations. We'll just talk about a few. So let's see. So the first thing that I plan to calculate is acquisition cost versus the campaign type. So let's see which campaign type asks for how much money. So let's see. So DF of So there are several things that I can perform over here. I can, you know, see the acquisition cost, and this is one a numerical and a categorical type of data. So I can create a bar chart. I can either create a pivot table and then create a bar chart using PLT, or I can directly use Seaborn for that. Let me see what else I can also do. So before calculating all that, I also want to see what type of campaign generated how many leads. So what I'll do is I'll value count the campaign type. You'll see in a minute what I'm trying to do. So df of lead, let me print that over here again, so that I have to go back and forth again and again. So okay, so df of campaign type dot value counts. Now we can see the value count of this various marketing campaigns. Now you can see the maximum number of value counts are for referral. So referral generated the maximum amount of leads for our company, followed by social media, influencer, email, and the last was search engine. So the least was done by search engine, so that means the people tends to search by themselves for this company. That's the least amount of leads, like that. Now simply I have to do plt dot plot. So this is already, I just have to plot it over here. Kind equals to bar graph. So that's one type of analysis that we can do over here. This bar graph tells me which campaign generated the maximum amount of leads. So I can see this is the solution, or this is the graph for that. Now again, I will never suggest you to present graphs like this, because whenever you need to present something, your graph should be detailed. It should contain all the details that it can. In order for that, you need to write, or you need to use a lot of PLT functions starting with figure. So let me give you an example what I want to say. So PLT dot figure, in that I'll write fig size equals to 6,4. Let me quickly see if that works for us. Okay, that works for us for this. Okay, in this case, so this, then if I need to change the colors of the bar, so I can write color equals to whatever color I want. So maybe orange. I will get the orange colored bars. Alright, if you want, you can change the color whatever you want. So then I will quickly give the title. PLT dot title should be this is number of leads generated by different campaign types. Right. Then PLT dot X label should be campaign types. PLT dot Y label would be number of leads generated. I'll just run it quickly to see how it looks. So this should look like this. Again, my X ticks are at 90 degrees, which I would not prefer to be. So PLT dot X ticks rotation should be positive. Rotation equals to, let me give it 75 and see if it works better. Okay, now 75 is too less, or too much. Let me give it so starting with 0 should be around 20 degrees, and then let me also write PLT dot show, just so that it's more visible for us. So it looks better this way, a bit better this way. So I'll keep it like this. Now I'll set a benchmark by using plt dot axh line, which I want at 200. Let us see if I can generate this line. So we can generate this line. This is my benchmark, so we can clearly see which campaign types hit the benchmark and which are not hitting it. Alright, so there's H line. Do I also need to add a text over here? If I want to, I can, but I think I'm good for now. So this is how I want this to look like. I can also add this by using what I can say, this by using plt.text to add the the labels to this bar, but I'm good for now. Let's not go into that. So this is one kind of bar that we can create. Now I could have also created a pie chart for this. Pie chart would have also been a good option, but let's do the pie chart for this thing. So I need to see how much value was generated by which campaign type. So or not value, but how much cost did it take for each campaign type. So I need to maybe group it by, or I can directly create the bar chart using cbol. So both the methods are applicable over here. So plt.py, in this I would write the df would be my data, comma x equals to x should be campaign type, comma y should be campaign type, and y should be the acquisition cost. So the acquisition cost over here, let me copy this. Right, let me see if it creates a pie chart multiple. So it should be my data. So data equals to df. I got an unexpected keyword argument y. Should be something else. Let me see why this has become. Why is this wrong? To pi got an unexpected argument y. Okay, so should be something else, or maybe values. I'm not sure. Is it? Okay, so for now, let me comment that out. It's creating. Could not convert string to float. Social media. Okay. So comma array, and should there be any other data type? X should be array like. Okay, so let me try to write this in an array itself. So campaign type, comma should be that I copied, and then closing this. Let me see if this works. Okay, so this is not working either. Alright, so this is not working here. So let me stick to the bar chart. So sns dot bar plot. In that, let me write df, comma x equals to campaign type, and then y equals to the customer acquisition cost. Let me copy it directly from here. Let me run this quickly. Okay, could not so this should be capital T, guess so. Yeah, so now it has created this data. This should be 60, so this should be mean. That's happened because the estimator that we specified here, we didn't specify anything, so by default it takes mean. So what I need to do is write estimator over here to be sum, right, and run this again. Now this has calculated what I wanted to. Now I can see how much cost do each campaign type requires. So I can see social media requires somewhere around 11,000. Again, now I also want to read this bars, so let me try to do that using a method that I know. So for I in a dot containers, I don't know if it works here or not, but let's try. Plt dot bar label bar underscore label of I. Let me see if it works over here. It works. Let me hide the error bar so that we don't see the error bar over here. Error bar equals to false. Let us see if it works. Okay, false is not working. Let me write none over here and see if it works. So yeah, now it works. So you can see we can see social media usually takes $10,892 worth of money to generate the leads that it generates. Influencer takes this much, search engine takes this much, email takes this much, and referral takes this much. Now this is the total amount of money that they charge for conversions. If I want to see how much on average do they charge, I need to calculate this by mean. So estimator equals to mean, and you can see which is the most successful type of lead generation method. So referral is the most or my bad, social media is the most, because you can see it charges $54.19 on an average to create a lead. Alright, whereas you see the most amount that is spent is in referral, whereas the most efficient is social media. Or my bad, this is not the most efficient but the least efficient. This is the search engine is the most efficient because we don't have to spend anything or not anything, but we have to spend the minimum amount required, which is $50.2 to generate a lead, whereas the most expensive is the social media. We have to spend $54.19 to spend to generate one lead by social media. So you see how data analysis works. The first step that we needed to do was to clean the data, create this KPIs, visuals, and then also to read this and interpret this for the stakeholders. Unless and until we read between these graphs, we read between these bars, there is no point for us to become a data analyst, because no one would be paying us for just creating dashboards, creating beautiful dashboards, unless and until that is increasing the company's value by something. Alright, whenever you increase the company's value by maybe 5 times, that's when you will be increasing your value by twice. Alright, so always remember that fancy dashboards and fancy artwork is secondary when it comes to data analysis. What remains primary is to gather the insights and gather the insights and interpret them and communicate them with your stakeholders. All right. So I will leave all the other analysis up to you. I'll just give you a brief idea about what else can be done with this. You can see month-wise lead generation. So you can see how many leads were generated month-wise. So which month generates the maximum amount of leads for this product? You can see that as a line graph. You can calculate the line graph for this trend. You can see yearly lead generation. You can see expected value versus the lead campaign, and which campaign type generates the most expensive customers, which campaign type generates how much acquisition cost, which lead source generates the most amount of leads, and so on and so forth. So you can calculate several types of analysis depending on the various what you can say, various data types or various columns or attributes. Alright, so I hope you got to learn something new from this video. You got to learn how marketing analysis should be done and can be done, and I hope you got to learn something new about the KPIs, the marketing KPIs that are required whenever you do a marketing kind of data analysis. Alright, so I would like to, at the end, I would like to thank you all for joining this video, for being attentive, being productive with this video, and I hope to see you in some video. Next, maybe we'll be working on some other topics on some other video. So, and before I leave, let me thank you all for joining, and also if you like this video, you can put a like below, comment below, and share this video with your friends and subscribe to our channel. Thank you all for joining this video.